Where did life come from? Let's look at two options. First, spontaneous generation through random chance. Or second, God. For most of the past 6,000 years, most people believed that God or gods created not only the earth, but the first living beings, including mankind. But in 1745, an English biologist and Catholic priest attempted to prove that spontaneous generation could create life without the help of God. His experiment consisted of a broth with living organisms in it that he boiled until all the living organisms were dead. Then he sealed the broth and just waited until some of the organisms came back to life. He felt that this proved that bacteria came from non-living cells in the broth. To him and many others, this experiment proved that God was not necessary for the emergence of life. It could just spontaneously generate. Another priest named Lazzaro Spallanzani believed that Needham's experiment was flawed because he didn't boil the broth long enough to kill all of the bacteria. In order to prove his hypothesis, he duplicated Needham's experiment, but this time he boiled the broth longer. Sure enough, no living organisms spontaneously generated. The bacteria was all just dead. Since Spallanzani's time, there have been thousands of experiments copying his, and not one of them has been able to demonstrate that life can spontaneously generate out of non-living matter. Today, spontaneous generation is the prevalent theory of life in modern science, despite the fact that there is no proof. So why doesn't life just spontaneously generate without God? The answer is math. In the last 40 years, scientists have attempted to calculate the odds that free-living, single-celled organisms such as bacterium might result by chance. So, what do you think? Is it a 50-50 chance, like a coin toss? Heads means life, and tails means no life? What about 2 heads in a row, or 10 heads in a row? The chance of getting heads on your first toss is obviously 1 in 2, or 50%. But the chance of getting heads 10 times in a row is than 1 in 1,000. Sir Fred Hoyle calculated the odds of only the proteins of an amoeba arising by chance as 1 in 10 to 40,000. Wow, that's a lot of heads in a row. In his book, S. Lloyd calculated that the maximum number of operations that the universe could have performed to date at quantum frequencies is approximately 10 to 120. Any number bigger than that is a miracle, and 10 to 40,000 is a lot bigger than 10 to 120. But that was just the proteins. Hoyle stated that the probability of spontaneous generation of life is about the same as the probability that a tornado sweeping through a junkyard could assemble a Boeing 747 from the contents therein. Or lining up 10 to the power of 50 blind people and giving each one a scrambled Rubik's Cube and finding that they had all solved it at exactly the same time. By the way, 10 to the power of 50 looks like this. Harold Marowitz, an atheist physicist, used mathematical models to conclude that the odds of a single bacterium reassembling by chance is 1 in 10 to 100 billion. Keep in mind, there are only 10 to the 80 atoms in the entire universe. You have a better chance of winning the lottery every week for 1,000,000 years than you have of spontaneously generating life. Robert Shapiro, author of Origins, A Skeptic's Guide to the Creation of Life on Earth, wrote, "The improbability involved in generating even one bacterium is so large that it reduces all considerations of time and space to nothingness. Given such odds, the time until the black holes evaporate and the space to the ends of the universe would make no difference at all. If we were to wait, we would truly be waiting for a miracle. Francis Crick, winner of the Nobel Prize for Biology for his work with the DNA molecule, said, "An honest man, armed with all the knowledge available to us now, could only state that in some sense the origin of life appears at the moment to be almost a miracle. So many are the conditions which would have had to have been satisfied to get it going. So, if life didn't appear spontaneously from random chance, then where did it all come from?" Psalm 139, 13-16. "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." God made you. You are not an accident. As the Bible says, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. That means you matter. You are important to God, and God does have a wonderful plan for your life. The creation of life on earth isn't just amazing, it's a miracle. Do you believe in miracles? I'd love to know what you think. Leave a comment and share this video with someone.